What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Robert Dorkey. Thank you so much for joining us because today we're going to be making fun of Riley J. Dennis. Finally got the name right. Never mind that. In the last video, I was saying her name like Jenice or Jenkins or Jenner or Jerky. Some of you may know who this is because not only is she a professional victim social justice warrior, she's putting herself online. She's put all of this comedic gold on the internet for everybody to enjoy. Somebody in the comments section down below in one of the other videos said, you know, Riley J. Dennis is insane. You just gotta check him out. So I did. And when I say Riley J. Dennis is a professional victim, I mean it. This is a person who thinks that you should be ashamed for who you're attracted to. You know, if you don't like a girl with a dick, or if you don't like fat people, like if you're not attracted to them, you should be ashamed of yourself. As long as you like those types of people, as long as you're dating a fat person or a trans person, you're good. You don't have to, you know, Riley J. Dennis doesn't have a problem with your sexual inclinations. With all of that said, we can jump right into this video and learn why genital preferences are transphobic. It's not even a joke.
Recently on the internet, there's been a lot of discussion around genital preferences and transphobia. In this video, I'm going to use the word cissexism instead of transphobia, but they're really similar words. At its most basic, cissexism means prejudice or discrimination against transgender people.
By the way, for those of you that don't understand what cisgender means or cissexism, number one, you need to check your privilege, alright? And number two, you need to go on Tumblr and learn all of our Tumblr key terms before you even start talking to me. Number three, you need to stop oppressing me. Bam. Let's get it out of the way. Cissexism is Riley's word for transphobia.
So what's been happening is that some people are making the argument that it's not cissexist at all to only be attracted to people with one kind of genitals.
So it's prejudice to be attracted to only one specific type of gender. That's prejudice. Yeah, it's totally prejudice to be attracted to only one type of person, one gender. If you're only attracted to men, you got a problem. You should be attracted to women too if you're a lady. That's a lot of people that are being sexist and prejudiced. What?
For example, these people might argue that being attracted to only women with vaginas in no way negatively affects trans people.
Oh my god. It doesn't negatively affect them. Why does Riley act like there's only a dozen people on the planet? I'm pretty sure that trans people don't have a problem with you if you're not attracted to their genital makeup. Trans people have plenty of people that they can date. It's not negatively impacting them if you're only attracted to vagina or dick.
I would argue that it's more complicated than that.
Sexual attraction isn't quite as simple as sexual attraction.
We all have our implicit biases built into our preferences, and gender isn't as simple as just the genitals you have. But after I say that, I usually get a bunch of blatantly cis-sexist responses, so I thought
yeah, go figure. You get a bunch of cis-sexist responses. Not from a bunch of people that are concerned with the shit that you're saying. No. It's cis-sexist. Let's devalue all the responses now ahead of time so that nobody watching your video really takes them seriously. Let's listen to your responses, Riley. I'm sure that this is gonna be gold.
I thought I'd address all of those responses at once. Number one, you're being homophobic. In this argument, I often get accused of homophobia, lesbophobia, or lesbian erasure by lesbians who believe that I'm trying to change their sexual orientation or identity.
Oh my god. Your own community doesn't even like you.
If you're a woman who only likes women, go ahead, identify as a lesbian. But some women have penises, and if the fact that some lesbians might be attracted to those women offends you, it's because you don't think trans women are real women.
Okay, here's somebody that's saying there's people out there that are pissed off that there's people attracted to trans people. Yeah, I'm sure there's such an epidemic of that. Please do go on.
Because these accusations of homophobia make it sound like I'm trying to convince lesbians to like men, but I'm not. I'm trying to show that preferences for women with vaginas over women with penises might be partially informed by the influence of a cis-sexist society.
The whole social justice movement is absolutely insane and filled with inconsistencies.
You do not have to date men or have sex with men. And if you think that's what I'm arguing, you're simultaneously strawmanning my argument and implying that trans women are men.
Yeah, see, like I said, all of these responses to Riley, they're cis-sexist. They're transphobic, is what the word means.
is what you are implying, and it is where this argument comes from. Suggesting that trans women are rapists for wanting to be fully recognized as women is extremely harmful.
Straw man! Alright, Riley, you seem to not understand what a straw man argument is, because on one hand you said that you're against them, but 30 seconds later you do a straw man. You said that people responding to you feel that trans people are gonna rape them in the women's bathroom. That's not the concern. I don't even think there's anybody that said that.
Note that I'm not saying you have to do anything without consent. I'm a big fan of affirmative consent, and you should never feel pressured to have sex with somebody. This isn't about an individual. This is not saying you have to have sex with a trans woman or you're cis-sexist.
You've been saying that because people don't want to have sex with trans women or trans men, they're being prejudiced. And you said that cis-sexism is prejudice. What? If you're gonna call people prejudiced, fucking own up to it. Own up to what you're saying, Riley. This is bullshit.
There's a massive difference between honing in on individual scenarios and considering wider societal issues and attitudes. Number 3, I'm allowed to have my preferences. Technically, you're right.
No, literally, you're right. You are allowed to have your preferences. It's end of discussion. What is Riley gonna say to this?
You're allowed to have your preferences and you don't have to change anything. But there's more to it than that, and ignoring the deeper issues by stopping at a surface level analysis doesn't do this issue any justice. Like, you're allowed to have a lot of things. You're allowed to have prejudice towards trans people, but that—
Oh my gosh. She's equating having a sexual preference to having a prejudice. I mean, this is what I've been saying this whole time. Like, what the fuck? Riley, you're absolutely insane. Thank you so much for staying on YouTube.
That doesn't mean you should. Simply saying, it's my preference, end of discussion, is a good way of sidelining all of those issues and instead centering the feelings of cis people in a discussion that's about trans people.
Oh my gosh, this person talks like they're triggered to hell. Like, listen to the way that they talk. Let's put on 3 videos at the same time, shall we?
That doesn't make you allowed having a trans friend doesn't mean you're suddenly an expert on trans issues. I'm going to assume that you already have ideas about your own identity. I've never said that anyone should have to have sex with someone with a penis if they don't want to.
Then what are you saying? Okay, so what I'm understanding here after going through the other videos is that Riley has said some crazy shit and gotten responses from people in the comments section and on Twitter, and what she's attempted to do with this video is backtrack. Well, I'm not saying this, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying this, but she doesn't even know how to backtrack. This is why I love SJWs and the whole, like, movement. It's delicious. Alright, we're gonna keep watching, but now we're gonna flip it to a video titled, Trans Women Are Not Biologically Male. Okay, alright.
There are people who don't think being transgender is a thing, and this video is not for them. This video is for the people who say, yes, trans women are women, but they are still biologically male.
Riley, if you don't want to say that a trans woman is male, that's fine. I'll give you that. I'm happy to give you that. Please take it. But trans women are biologically male. You don't need to get triggered. That's just a fact. What are we trying to deny here? What's the goal? What's the point of this? I don't get it at all.
So I'm going to assume that you already really believe that trans women are women. If you don't believe that, this video isn't meant to convince you.
Then why are you even making the video? What's the point of even putting something up and being all triggered like you are and having this discussion? If you already believe that trans women aren't really women, then this video isn't for you. You just said it's for me. You just said it's for people who don't agree with that. What are you what? Your logic can't even stay consistent for 30 seconds, Riley. What are you doing?
Instead of leaving an angry comment, you could go do some research into what it means to be transgender. I will leave some links in the description to some very good resources to get you started. All right.
Riley did the research for you. No. Don't go to Google. Don't do that. Riley has the sources down below in the description. Why don't you do some research? If you disagree with me, why don't you do the research? By the way, I left links down below so you can learn. So there you go.
Alright, so let's say that you're trying to be a good ally to trans people and you heard that sex and gender are 2 different things. Sex is biological and gender is a social construct. That's not entirely true.
Okay, Tumblrinas, get all your shit straight, then come back to the internet. You've already changed so many things, so many different ways, that people literally in your movement, other social justice warriors, are starting to be like, well, fuck this. Even people with the glasses, fat girl who's all about fat acceptance, she's got the dyed hair, she's reading and watching all this stuff. She's watching Riley Dennis and thinking,
sex and gender are two different things, but they're both partly social constructs, just in different ways.
again? We changed this shit again? What? Fuck, I'm out of here.
For a long time, gender has been assigned to people based on their perceived sex. A doctor looks at a baby's genitals and determines what gender it will be raised as.
Riley, a doctor doesn't assign genders to babies. A doctor takes babies out of the mother and they look at their genitals and they say, whoa, okay, that's a girl or a boy. All right, and they write it down. They're not assigning anything to the baby. It's not like that movie Ants where they're going through the conveyor belt and all the ant babies are either getting a worker ant hat or a warrior ant hat. They're not getting assigned anything at birth. You're insane. You're absolutely off the reservation.
But being transgender was not a mainstream topic of discussion. Today, many of us recognize that gender is far more complicated than a person's perceived sex, and we're able to acknowledge that people can be trans.
Oh my god. I'm getting bored with this video. Let's go to the next one. But before we do, I wanted to take a look at the like-dislike ratio, which, by the way, it's glorious. Now, on YouTube, they say you want to have 10% likes of your views. So if you have 100,000 views, you want 10,000 likes. Well, Riley has done the complete opposite. There have been so many people watching this video that fucking hated it, who took the time to dislike it. 136,000 views, and there's almost 10% of that in dislikes. 12,000 people went ahead and disliked. They took time to do that. Next video.
Well, I already know a bunch of people are going to come to this video just to give it a thumbs down and leave a nasty comment without even watching it.
I'm sure that everybody's just coming to the video and they're just hating. They're trolls, Riley. That's why on good videos, you always see a ton of dislikes because it's just trolls. If your video dislikes were all from trolls and people who didn't watch your videos, well then all the other good videos on this website would have as many dislikes as yours does. Don't even try to go there. Let's get into what you want to talk about, Riley. I want to give you the floor.
Non-binary people fall under the umbrella term trans, which refers to anyone whose gender doesn't match what they were assigned at birth.
There's that word again, assigned. If you watch this and you're buying into all of this crap, I have nothing to give you. I don't know how to help you. I don't even think a psychologist would know how to help you if you bought into all of this.
One professor in Toronto recently refused to acknowledge any of his non-binary students by their proper names or pronouns. He said that when people deviate from the norm, they shouldn't be welcomed with open arms. This is a university professor basically saying, you're lucky that your gender doesn't make me aggressive towards you. Ew.
I think I know who she's talking about. Jordan B. Peterson was mainly talking about free speech. Because he was saying this he was at that college. He was saying it in response to the college starting to make rules about what you call people, you know, the pronouns that you use. Now, on one hand, people should be polite and you should use the pronouns anyway. But we're not going to legislate that. This person and people like her want to legislate your words. They want to take away your free speech, at least in this instance. And this type of thing, trying to dictate what college professors use, you know, pronouns and whatever, this doesn't stop there. This leads into other things, because if you can legislate certain words, you can legislate a lot more than that. That's what Jordan B. Peterson was talking about, but Riley isn't going to even speak about free speech. She's not even going to mention the two words. I'll put $100 on it.
Most people who make response videos to mine can't seem to resist the temptation to throw in some ad hominem insults towards me, usually saying that my non-binary gender doesn't exist.
Well, now that you mentioned it, Riley, let's get into it. Let's just face it. You've had the money, you've had the time to do the hormone therapy, but you haven't. You've had years. You could have done it by now, and then you would be the sex, you'd be the gender that you identify with. But no, you're going to continue being a YouTuber, this guy with long hair and eye makeup, and just talk and be a victim on YouTube. That's all you're gonna do. I will be so surprised if you actually ever do get the hormone therapy and take the plunge and commit to it. But there's so many trans trenders out there that I honestly believe that this is one of them. I think I would go out and say that. I'll go out on that limb. Just like I went out on a limb in the last video. This is my limb outgoing.
Often, the main thing I hear people cite to deny our existence is science.
How many people are denying your existence?
They say that you either have male parts or female parts. As someone who genuinely loves science, it sucks to see people trying to use it to erase the existence of others, especially when there is plenty of science to suggest the opposite.
As much as I like science, there is so much other science that disagrees with the science that I like. I like the science that I like because it agrees with my worldviews, my ideologies. But there are only two genitals, and doctors do not assign genders to babies at birth. That's not how it fucking works.
So here are 3 steps to acknowledging the existence of non-binary people. Step number 1, recognize that sex and gender are not the same thing. Sex is not gender. Gender is not sex. If you can't accept this basic fact, then we're never going to agree on anything.
So basically, you're never going to change your views at all. If we can't change our views, we shouldn't even be talking to you. You know, that is the characteristic of somebody who's really, really smart and somebody that's open-minded. Somebody that you really want to talk to and have discussions with. Wow, what I wouldn't give to just sit down with Riley and have a nice cup of coffee. It would just be so awesome. This is the type of person that I want to have discussions with. Whew. Yeah, imagine.
Sex is biological and has to do with your anatomy and physiology, though I've done an entire video on why this also isn't a perfect binary, which I'll link to in the description. Gender, on the other hand, is a socially constructed...
I'm becoming less and less interested in this subject and in Riley right now, so we're gonna have to end the video here. I think everything that could be said about this person has been said. Join me in the next video. We're gonna be talking about this music video. You may have seen it in the past couple weeks. It's pretty funny. And we're going to respond to it. Riley, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Your logic knows no bounds. Alright, for everybody that's watching right now, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. And I'll see you guys real soon when we talk about that video. Have a great day, and as always, dork it up.